What's up,
And
everybody?
welcome to the weekly show of Classroom Without Walls. My name is I'm the host of this weekly live streaming show. And join me live today is the one and only Brian Wallace.
Hey, what is going on?
And today we are discussing a very popular topic, LinkedIn logo, and I can't wait to learn more about this because I'm interested in hosting one in Philadelphia, and we are going to discuss how you can leverage LinkedIn logo to grow your business. So we are live on LinkedIn. Hello, everyone joining us live on LinkedIn.
Hey.
We're also live on Periscope, hello Periscope, and on Facebook, on my personal page, on my public page, and on YouTube. So let us know, everyone, in the comment section where you are joining us from, geographically and social media wise. I'm so excited about this topic, and actually, Brian and we just connected last week in person at the Inbound conference in Boston, and I also attended my very first LinkedIn logo since I came back to the United States. I had a blast, so I can't wait to learn more about this. So before we get started with our interview today, I saw a bunch of people are already with us. Thank you so much, guys. And I just want to do a quick introduction of our amazing guest. So Brian is the founder and president of Now Sourcing, which is the nation's #1 infographic design agency. He's too shy. You disappeared for a few seconds.
No, I'm here. I'm just sharing your live stream with LinkedIn right now.
Please. And Brian also serves on advisory board for South by Southwest. So congratulations. And he's also an advisor for Google Small Business. And Brian writes for pretty much every single major publication out there. And he's just an amazing person overall. And thank you so much for joining us live. I'm so excited to have you on my show again. So welcome.
Thank you so much. Wonderful introduction. Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here. Great seeing you in person, and happy to spread all sorts of wealth of knowledge, all things LinkedIn logo.
Yeah, I need to have some LinkedIn logo. I do have some. I forgot to bring some. So I do want to give a quick shout out to my dear friend Peter, and he is in the comment section monitoring everyone's comments and questions. So if I miss your questions, please feel free to tag Peter, and we are going to do a screen share of all the questions that come up, and we will try to answer as many questions as possible. So are you ready to get started, my friend?
Let's roll. I was just looking at all the comments. I see quite a lot of our friends, some of which were hanging out with us last week.
For a second.
Say again? You lost me? Am I still here? Are we good?
And I have no idea where my friend goes.
Am I here?
Let me know who is with us. Hey, Elizabeth, thank you for joining us. My friend Suzanne, thank you for being here. And Jerry, thank you for being here. And a bunch of others. So welcome back. And my first question for you is, you are like the only person that I know who has hosted so many and joined so many LinkedIn locals. And so please give us a quick overview of LinkedIn logo. What is this about? When did this take into place? And what is this for? Who is this for? So just give us a quick overview of LinkedIn logo, just in case our live audience don't know much about this.
Sure. And great question. Everybody can hear and see me okay, hopefully?
Don't disappear again.
I'll try not to disappear. If I disappear, I'll just refresh the screen. But yeah, LinkedIn local is really for anyone, or let's preface that. It should be for anybody who is on LinkedIn and wants to get to know the people behind the profile of LinkedIn. So like me, I'm sure you've been to your fair share of networking events, and I'm sure like me, you're just like, gotta go, bye. And then you like exit a lot of the networking events because they're boring. And like, it's like a bunch of like real estate agents and salespeople and whatever, not throwing shade at specific industries, but just a cluster of people that like are overly aggressive networkers, and just it's more important to push the business card rather than build the relationship and the rapport, because people buy from people that they know and like and trust. So please, like try to chill with all that, slow your roll and get to know people. And then maybe if they like you and they trust you, then they'll follow along. And then it can lead to a buyer's journey or introductions or referrals or whatever it is. So this is actually something that happened about 2 years ago. And there were a number of people throughout the world. There were actually really 5 people that started it. One of which is Anna McAfee, which many of you, if you've been on LinkedIn for a while, you probably know. She's out in Australia. Then also we've got Swish or Manu, depending on how you know him, Goswami, Alex Galvez, Eric Eklund, and Ryan Troll. So the 5 of these people from all over the world got together and they started putting these events together. It's been in, gosh, it must be up to like 1,000 cities now, probably 80 to 100 countries.
Wow.
Hundreds of thousands of people have attended. And a lot of cities and locations have even had it more than once. So for instance, you and I were just in Boston last week. I believe the main organizer there, Umama, we should tag everybody. I think she said that was like their 7th. So that's a lot for a city. A lot of them don't necessarily get over to number 7. Some of them are just starting out, doing their first. It's a lot of work to coordinate and all of that. So I wasn't one of the original 5, but I definitely got involved very early in the movement because there were a few things that were happening on LinkedIn, right? So there was a growing creator community. There was the acquisition by Microsoft, and then there was the user community movement of LinkedIn Local. And as we know with a lot of major social network updates, a lot of amazing stuff happens from the wild, which gets incorporated into the fabric of the culture of how that social network grows. So when I saw the opportunity here, I said, wow, like I totally want to get behind this. So I've done a lot of different things behind the scenes. I've helped entire regions of the United States try to put together organizers, events, speakers, suggestions, breaking up fights, whatever it takes to really get everything rolling. A while ago, and you can feel free to share this too on the screen, we even put together an infographic about LinkedIn Local, obviously, because what does an infographic guy do but put in infographics? So there's also that.
Yeah, if you share the link with me, I can definitely share with the audience, or
Yeah, it's up on your screen.
You can also do a screen share.
Yeah, whatever. Whichever way you want to do it. I just sent it to you. So, and we can do that in the show notes or after. This is something that people could look at their leisure after, I imagine, as well. So I just kind of became one of the guys behind the scenes, really just helping a lot of people get into this. So my help has been on a spectrum. So all the way on one side, it would be completely like organizing the event top to bottom, figuring out who should speak, figuring out what kinds of event space, all the logistics of that, programming and all that kind of stuff. And then all the way on the other side of the spectrum, it could just be people have hit me up from around the entire world, probably all continents, maybe not Antarctica, but basically everywhere else. People have hit me up and I've had something to say about it. And then there's stuff in the middle where sometimes I'll just kind of give it a shout, or I'll try to tag a bunch of people and have them get together. And sometimes, even if I'm not organizing it or co-organizing it, depending on what city I'm in, I may actually show up at the place, speak, help organize it, MC, be the janitor, whatever people expect. Right. So yeah, I find it to be a tremendously fulfilling way to educate people about LinkedIn and have structured networking around all the stuff that we learn about how to network properly, because network gets a bad rap. There's nothing wrong with networking. It's just crappy networking that people think is networking that has ruined the etymology of that word. Yeah. So that's kind of where we are.
Wow, this is such a great overview of LinkedIn Local. And as I mentioned, you are just so active in this space. And I can't wait to learn more about the strategies and tactics behind LinkedIn Local so that our live audience can benefit from this. We have so many people join us live right now. Kathleen and Vicky and Kristen, Peter. I'm sorry, I'm not able to mention all of your names. But thank you so much, Mark, Jane, and Keith. And thank you so much, everyone, for being here with us. And Desmond, And so let us know if you have any question related to LinkedIn Local. So last year, Brian, you wrote an article titled, I have it here, How LinkedIn Local Changed the Face of Professional Network. And it is such a great article. I really enjoyed reading it. So I wonder if you can share with us in some specific ways that hosting and participating in LinkedIn Local has benefited your personal business and professional network.
Sure, great question. So, and we'll also drop a link to what I is talking about in the comments. So I'm a columnist, like I said, I'm all over the internet, but in this case, she's talking about a particular column that I write for at CMS Wire, which does a lot of conversation about digital trends and customer experience and stuff like that. Really great publication. Definitely suggest you guys check that out. So, and actually in that article, we actually had the LinkedIn Local infographic as well. So I love when people ask this question because people are like, well, how do you have time for it? And what do you get out of it? I'm sorry, but like, again, it's the wrong kind of networking, right? So if you reach into my pocket and you steal my wallet and you take all my money, it's too aggressive, right? I mean, that's sociopathic, that's a crime. So people need to slow their roll with that kind of stuff and understand that developing all of these relationships online is wonderful. But as we go into what I like to call, and I'm sure you've heard me say this a million times if you follow me, closer to human. So right now, I are there. Dr. I and myself are face-to-face by video through StreamYard, which is being restreamed across all of her social platforms. So this is pretty close to human, or closer to human. It's better when we were hanging out in Boston together or wherever we happen to be on the planet. And we can deepen our relationships that we form online and grow those to more of a bond when we get together and just have deeper conversations when all the videos and the microphones are off, right? And we can just kind of get into some really specific things. Like when I and myself have gotten together, we've talked about all sorts of cool stuff that we're probably not going to bring up, on a large crowd on the internet, and we'll talk about different things. So part of what's special about LinkedIn Local is that you can have those more intimate moments. And you can get to meet people that you might think are the LinkedIn influencers or the celebrities, and maybe they're so backed up with all the invites and whatever, they're not going to notice you. But if you meet them in person, guess what? They're going to connect with you, and they're going to take pictures with you and do video and all of that. And you can ask them questions right there, and questions that you have, guess what? Other people are going to want to have those questions too. So ask them and don't be shy. And by the way, internet famous, I'm just a regular dude, whatever. Like, I don't go around signing autographs. Like, I'm a very approachable and normal person. Maybe I'm a little aggressive because I'm from New York, but I'm still a normal, approachable person. So yeah, I mean, I think that part of what I love about LinkedIn Local at this point in my age and stage and career, I could probably show up any city, state, country and just be like, hey, let's throw a LinkedIn Local. And as long as we had enough time in advance, we could totally do it. What more could you ask for? As opposed to having like a bunch of one-on-one meetings, why not just one-on-one is slow. You can scale a one-to-many and a many-to-many. So you can have you versus 100 people at a LinkedIn Local with a panel of 4 people with the entire world watching. And I'm one of the LinkedIn, well, as you are too. Hello, we're on it right now. So the two of us are beta live streamers with the LinkedIn Live program. So I've noticed that a lot of people really get a lot of value when we do a LinkedIn Live at a LinkedIn Local behind the scenes, and then also to have up a computer so we can moderate questions and comments from the internet. That is an unstoppable mix of old school, new school, online, in person, and just cross-pollinating all those worlds at once.
Yeah, this is great. And I just noticed that we have someone joining us from Central America. Wow. Welcome to the show, Mario. That's so amazing. I also have someone from Nigeria, which is quite fascinating. That's the power of the internet. And you are quite well known in this space. How about for people who are less well known, Brian? And what can they get out of attending a LinkedIn Local? Like, many of my audience are small business owners, entrepreneurs, and digital marketers. What can they get out of a LinkedIn Local?
So let's back up a second and let's talk about the complete novice. Let's even go back a step from what you just asked, right? So let's take a person who doesn't even have LinkedIn, doesn't even have it on their phone. So in one night, let's assume it's during the night, you can learn not everything, but a ton of stuff about your profile. You can connect with everybody there. You could do find nearby on your phone or the QR code thing. I remember when we did the LinkedIn Local in Cincinnati, there was a friend of mine who's a teenager, and he got 200% more connections, and he introduced himself. I think he was the youngest person in the room, and everybody loved him. Wow. And he was in all sorts of pictures, and everybody tagged with him. So now he's got a whole local network and cross-pollinated with the internet. So yeah, you don't have to be internet famous like me, because I've been professionally on the internet for 23 years. I started my company 13 years ago. I've been on LinkedIn a long time. I actually deleted LinkedIn a number of years ago. Yeah, I did. It wasn't really what I thought it was back then. And then I came back a year later, but we're not going to talk about that. Whoops, I guess we just did. Whatever, it's all good. I came back and it worked out just fine. So yeah, you don't have to be famous. You don't have to have a ton of following. You don't have to have a whole huge personal brand, but you got to start somewhere. The key word to that is start with a capital S. You'll know, I'm sure you can attest to, I love to just nudge everybody. So I remember when video first came out on LinkedIn, everybody I knew who was an influencer, I'm just like, hey, why aren't you on video like yesterday? I know you got it. And then when LinkedIn Live came out, it's like, I know you got this account. Why aren't you doing it? Whatever feature comes out, I always try to push people into their next action, hence the name of the podcast that I do, Next Action. So that's where that comes from. I think that everybody they're sitting on the keys to their own future, and they don't understand how to think 3 feet in front of themselves, let alone endless permutations down the road, 5 years, 10-year plan. Got to start something. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I love what you mentioned, everyone has to get started, especially for someone who has zero presence on LinkedIn Local. They can also benefit so much from this. So can you please share with us, because you have been to so many, let's say that I want to attend a LinkedIn Local. So what are something that I should do prior to the event, during the event, and after the event is over, so that I can maximize the ROI of a particular LinkedIn Local?
Yeah. So before the event, and we touched on this briefly a little bit, make sure you have a LinkedIn account. That sounds stupid, but maybe you haven't logged in a while, maybe you don't know your password, maybe you have 2 or 3 LinkedIn accounts from different jobs. Make sure you have something with a presence. I would also, at the minimum, it'd be nice to have that little banner image that have something cool on it, but at a minimum, have a profile picture, because not everybody does, and have as professional a one as possible and as current a one as possible. So if you lost a whole bunch of weight, your hair is different, you wear glasses now, whatever, make it look like you, or nobody's going to recognize you. Common sense, but sometimes common sense is not so common. That's stuff to do ahead of time. While you're there, make sure you have it on your phone, and make sure that you have the latest version of the app so it doesn't glitch up. Try to get on Wi-Fi, and then try to do the find nearby thing, which most LinkedIn Local hosts and organizers will tell you to do. And be present. Don't be messing around with your phone. Talk to people, learn from the panels and all of that. If you don't remember who you connected with, a really easy thing to do while you're on the find nearby screen, screenshot that screen, and then you'll remember that set of people. And then after the event, nothing kills a great event like a lack of momentum and drive and desire for the next step. So if you're not going to follow up with people and accept their connections and all of that, why did you even go? I don't even understand. And something else that I think we should say here is, remember that not all LinkedIn Locals are the same. There are a variety of schools of thought, and they're very, very different. It's almost like, imagine like TED Talks and then TEDx, and how each one is independently organized. So some LinkedIn Locals could be 10, 15, 20 people in an intimate setting at a bar or a restaurant and be like super high spiffy class with fancy food. Sometimes it can be thousands of people, and we'll get into one of those in just a minute. So you don't know what you're in for, right? Sometimes you'll have a keynote speaker. Sometimes you'll have a panel of speakers. Sometimes people are a little salesy. Some people say no pitches and no business cards. So there's a variety of interests and attitudes and archetypes that you can expect to see at these places?
Wow, this is really good to know. And I just happened to see this question from Keith. Thank you for joining us, by the way. And he asked if you can just kind of give us an idea of what exactly happens and what sort of panels. Is there food? Everyone cares about food, and or like there's a big variation from place to place.
Sure. So let's do the world of LinkedIn Local according to Brian and ignore everybody else for a minute.
I love it.
Here we go. So this is what I like to do. So I've kicked off a number of them in different cities that are kind of in my region, in Louisville, Kentucky, Cincinnati, Ohio. We're looking at different cities also throughout Ohio and the whole Midwest and South region. I've kicked off a number of them in the New York metro area and all of that. So here's, again, this is just kind of my crazy brain and things that I think work. I don't think people care about going to breakfasts and lunches anymore. It's too much of an interruption during the day. I think people want the weekend and Friday afternoon for their family. So cut all that stuff out. I think that a proper event is run sometime Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I think you start it at 6 and you finish at 8 or until whenever everybody stops talking. The reason you do it around then is it gives people enough time to get out of work and to commute to wherever it is. You should find a venue before you even plan anything. I like to get venues for free because it gets them a lot of publicity. And a lot of times I go with corporate headquarters because a lot of them love to have a bunch of other people in the room and they can interview people and network and recruit and have media. And, you know, it's like a shot where they finally like get to be an exciting focal point in whatever city. So generally this is how the night works for us. 6 o'clock, doors open. Whatever panel we do, where sometimes we'll have master ceremonies, we'll have a moderator for the questions, and then we'll have a panel typically of about 3 people. Please think about having some diversity, not just diversity of male, female, people of color, but also diversity of thought, right? I think a lot of people pay lip service to this, and they don't understand that different people who come from different backgrounds that have different circles approach problems and solutions differently. Also, as a cross point of that, I think that it's nice to also have some people who are media, some people who are entrepreneurs, some people who are big brands, just a whole different mix of all sorts of different people, I think really makes it shine. So like when we were just in Boston, everybody there was completely different, very, very different backgrounds, very different appearance, right? They all have their own different kinds of brands and they were great. Because it was such a different thing. It wasn't just, because what happens is if you just have all these same as people, it's just gonna be like one person says something, oh, I totally agree with so-and-so. No, come on. Everybody show up and say something different or get out of here. So anyway, so doors open around 6. We'll typically start the panel around 7, go about half an hour, leave some time for Q&A with the audience. We'll do a giant group picture and open that back up to networking. That's generally what we do.
Is LinkedIn Local always free? Because the ones that I attended and the ones that I'm aware of are free. So is it always free?
No, it's not. So again, sort of like independent things, right? Some people want to have a slight cover charge, so that way people will take it seriously and show up. Some people have a slight cover charge and it will go to charities. That's been a popular thread. And some people charge a bit more just because the event costs a lot. So the one that I want to talk about that's happening next Thursday in New Jersey, there's a significant cover charge because there's going to be 1,000+ people there, right? So I think it depends on the size of the event and what's expected. So sometimes you could get a really nice meal and all sorts of add-ons. Sometimes you might just get some drinks and snacks, and sometimes you might not get anything. I don't know. I mean, I'm not in charge of everybody's kind of thing. So I think it totally makes sense for people to charge. Typically when I am behind the scenes in full control of like really doing the logistics and operations, I would say the majority of the events that I am directly planning are usually clocking somewhere between 50 to 200 people. And we generally run them free or around free with very low snacks and drinks. Because you want to go to a 3-course meal, like go to dinner with your significant other. You want to go learn a bunch of stuff and like actually learn stuff.
I do.
pick your direction, guys. Like,
because I'm such a jerk. Yeah, this is great. Yeah, I hope that give you an idea, Keith, of kind of an overview of LinkedIn Local. So here we have a question from Ella, and she asked, thank you for joining us, and she's a new connection. So she asked, we do have a international pub community joining us live right now, Brian. So how popular is LinkedIn Local in the UK and outside of the US in different countries? Do you know anything about this?
Oh yeah, LinkedIn Local is extremely popular in the UK because a few of the original founders of LinkedIn Local, so Alex Galvez, Authentic Alex, who's a top voice on LinkedIn, is in the UK. There's a lot of influencers in the UK. It's one of the larger countries in terms of its share of voice. I can't off the top of my head tell you how many times every single LinkedIn Locals happened there, but LinkedIn Local is alive and well in the United Kingdom. In fact, I know somebody today was asking me something somewhere in LinkedIn about it showing up in the UK. But again, across every continent, they're everywhere. If you do you know how you all can do a search on LinkedIn and usually use that for searching people? Well, there's a sub menu on the top that's a content search. So if you do a content search for hashtag LinkedIn Local and then put in whatever city, state, country, you'll probably find a bunch of stuff. Also, a lot of people use Eventbrite to search, to not just search, but actually host the events and the registration tickets. So I would definitely check as a content search on LinkedIn and on Eventbrite. And I'll bet you'll find a lot of stuff no matter where you are in the world. And if you don't find something, good for you. Opportunity. Go start your own LinkedIn Local. If you want to chat about it, I'll chew your ear off for an hour. Let's do it.
This is great. Maybe you can just show people what you mean here. So right now I'm on my homepage on LinkedIn. Perfect. My friend Dana is here. So what should I search?
So you see where it says content right there underneath?
Yes.
Click that. Okay, so now we're under a content search. Okay, and now in the search box, type in hashtag LinkedIn Local. Oh, that's so meta. There we are.
I know.
Wow, we're so cool. Hashtag LinkedIn Local, and then just pick any random city.
And then maybe anywhere. London?
Sure. All right, so here we go.
Oh,
this
wow.
is totally unscripted, so let's see what happens. So there you go. So here's some dude.
Wow, this guy just after the fantastic LinkedIn Local event, probably in London.
Yeah, let's click on that see more and see what happens. I don't know where Bournemouth is, but
I have no idea. I'm geographically challenged.
I mean, if you go to maps.google.com, I'm probably sure that is somewhere near there. Or if you click his video, he probably has a British accent or something.
Yeah. Then, okay, but this is great to know.
Yeah, there you go. So the one under it says Southwest London, and that's October 25th. Yeah. So you can click on that, go to their Eventbrite, sign up. You get it.
Oh, wow. This is great. Yeah, I'm definitely going to play more with this and discover more. So this sounds so great. I hope everyone in the live audience is sold on this. And so share with us, I know you have a roadmap in terms of organizing successful LinkedIn Local, have 5 different pillars. So can you please share with us so that if anyone in the live audience is interested in organizing a LinkedIn Local, we'll just copy and your roadmap. So hopefully we can have a successful LinkedIn Local event.
Okay, so what we're talking about here, to clarify the question, so there's 2 questions here. So there's a set of things that I would recommend to do, and there's a roadmap of things that I'm getting involved in. Which one do you want me to answer?
So the first one, and then maybe the second one.
Okay, so to do a proper LinkedIn Local, something we didn't talk about yet. So the 5 that started LinkedIn Local, there's things called copyrights and trademarks. You can't just steal LinkedIn's name and use it for profit and whatever. So there was a whole to-do not that long ago where LinkedIn actually pulled the reins in, and now LinkedIn Local is property of LinkedIn and not so much with the group of 5. So, and we'll have to dig up the link for this. There actually is a terms and conditions in the help section of LinkedIn, where you better read it closely, cover to cover. You have to have a disclaimer on the event saying that this event is not endorsed or supported specifically by LinkedIn. There's certain legal terminology with there.
Wow.
There is a LinkedIn local logo that you're allowed to use as long as you're following it. And whatever, I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not going to read you a 2-page terms and conditions. Look at it, read it, make sure you're compliant. Okay, that's very important. So that's first and foremost. If you don't know what you're doing with that, you might get in trouble. That's first. Next, and we already alluded to this, make sure you have a venue. You cannot have an event without a venue. And events sometimes flake out on the venues, or they want to charge a ton. I generally try to get free venues, and I don't understand why nobody wouldn't want to have an amazing event like this. Sometimes people struggle with that, or they want to charge an arm and a leg, and then you have to figure it out. What do you do? Like, as the organizers, you might have to split the costs. You might have to charge a bunch to front that to the users, which is why I want to keep the cost way down and just maybe get some stuff at Costco or whatever to eat and drink, and just have the event be free. So event first, lock in the day and time, and then you can think about who should show up on the panel. You can have a panelist thing, but I think if you really want to deliver value beyond just the network of the people in the room, you should get people to speak at the event. I'd recommend a diverse panel of 3 with at least a moderator, maybe an MC that could be the person who has the venue or something like that. But at a minimum, have a moderator who knows how to ask questions and figure out some questions in advance. And for the panel, make sure that they are diverse, make sure they know how to speak, and make sure they're good at LinkedIn. Because if they have like 10 followers or something, like, what are they going to teach everybody that might know more sitting in the room? Right? I mean, you were sitting in the room at Boston and you had an awesome question. You could have been right up there with us, right? So make sure that you have good people. And here's a weird thing that I see a lot of LinkedIn locals getting into. Some people want to fly all the influencers in from everywhere. But I think that if you're making a LinkedIn local, there's probably tons of talent in your own city or nearby that again, different philosophies. But for a normal sized LinkedIn local, which is probably, again, clocking into 50 to 200 people, I'm sure you can put together a panel of 3. Also, use Eventbrite. It's going to make your life easier. I would recommend, if you want to have 200 people at the event, put at least 300 RSVPs for that, because a bunch of people, especially if it's free, won't bother to show up. Give people a few notices, shout it out on LinkedIn, make a creative looking banner, have everybody around you push it out, and then get ready to party. So the other side of the question, unless you have any questions on that question, is what's my roadmap look like? Are we ready for that, or do we want to talk about something else?
No, I'm ready. Yes.
Okay. So right now so my company Now Sourcing is headquartered in Louisville, Kentucky, and we have another office in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is where I'm streaming from live right now. Those are both in the Midwest/South, whatever. If you don't know your geography, it doesn't really matter. It's the Eastern time zone. A lot of the world kind of aligns itself to the Eastern time zone because it's about 60% of the United States population, bigger than California and all that stuff. Because if you look at it, there's a lot of cities, and it goes pretty far west into the Midwest. Anyways, so next week I am flying to the New York metro area, and I noticed that I could fit in my schedule. Our good buddy and mutual friend, Christine Gritman, is one of the organizers for a LinkedIn local in Metro New York, more specifically in Westchester County in the city of White Plains, New York. And we can share a link to that. There's a LinkedIn local Westchester. I'm going to put that in chat here. So I noticed that she needed another person to speak, and I was coming in earlier that day. So here we go. And now I'm one of the speakers on the panel, and it's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be Monday, September 16th from 6 to 8 in White Plains, New York. So if you're anywhere in the Metro New York area, come out and see us. You know me by now. I'm probably going to do a live stream for part of the event, and I'll do my best to make sure that that's working so you guys can see behind the scenes and ask some questions from the internet. So that's one thing on my immediate roadmap. And then there's the big daddy of all of these LinkedIns to the extreme. And that is something that we're calling LinkedIn Global. No slight to LinkedIn Local. It's just a little thing that they did, whatever. But if you go to linkedinglobal.org, You'll see all about it. If you have a bunch of questions, I am one of the organizers. I'm speaking at it, and I'm also in charge of the programming for the event. So it's a venerable who's who of the LinkedIn creator community. If you scroll down the page, just so people can see, I mean, there's a little more. So keep going. I want to stop where it shows the people. That's a little too small to see. Keep going. So here's some of the presenters. So I'm going to be on there. It's just alphabetical order. I didn't need myself to be up there first, but we've got all sorts of cool people on here, and maybe we can shout them out. We've got Chantel Sumas, we've got Hawataha from Disney, we've got Jamie Benrizzi, we've got Joe Wall, who's working hard and is one of the main organizers, John Marty of Amazon, Judy Fox, Fox Rocks, Maribel Lara, who works with Gary Vee at VaynerMedia, Mark Metry of the Humans 2.0 podcast, incredible keynote millennial speaker, Michaela Alexis, Paul Germazian. For those of you who don't know Paul, y'all heard of the Mall of America? It's the largest mall in America in Minnesota, I think. So that he's the COO of that company, which is called American Dream. And in, I think in October I'd have to look it up, but they're actually launching a bigger mall in New Jersey called American Dream. We've got Q Harrison Terry, who does growth for Mark Cuban companies, Shanae Moret of MedSnake Media. Scroll down and we'll shout out a few more. I think I left out Brad Levitt. He does a really cool construction company. We've got a podcast lounge of a bunch of people on there. We've got a number of people in the press. We've got an influencer roundtable of all sorts of cool people. Chris Hummel, Dale Dupree, SD Rand. You're scrolling too fast. Okay, come back. Joe Applebaum, Manny Hoffman, Zach Scriven. And there's going to be a lot of live streamers. Like I said, we're going to have a podcast lounge. We're going to have a VIP portion of the program from 3 to 4. The main event is from 5 o'clock to 10. If you scroll all the way up, you can see a whole event schedule and download that. No, the other way. If people want to go see, it's not a free event, and there's also there's a guy, Label Schwartz, who, if you look at my profile, has an awesome headshot, and he's the guy who did it. So that is included in the ticket. So there's all sorts of programming and food, and there's like a VR experience. So I've heard there's a mechanical bull. There's going to be press. So, I mean, I don't know if you're anywhere near the Metro New York, and a lot of these podcasters are going to be recording live podcasts there. So there's just an incredible amount of opportunity. There's also going to be structured networking and a bunch of different zones where everything from healthcare to real estate and technology, I think. There's all sorts of different focused areas where people can just really connect in person, but also specific to their industry. So that's pretty unheard of when it comes to the level of planning of a regular LinkedIn event. So this is taken.
This is amazing. I wish I could attend. Unfortunately, I will be away for a meditation retreat, but this is amazing. So I have 2 follow-up questions for you for this. So the first is, how is a LinkedIn local or LinkedIn global different from many other networking events or conferences that we generally attend? The second question is, you have this amazing group of speakers, and how did you get them to say yes to this event? And like, how about for like less popular people like us, and how can we reach out to influencers to speak at our kind of LinkedIn local events?
Okay, so I firmly believe that there's a lot more going on at any kind of LinkedIn local, even if it isn't a large event like this, as opposed to just straight networking, because you're focusing around a rally point. So if you just go to straight networking and speed dating and stuff like that, it's a little hard to kind of have a context to bond over. Here, we're all excited about LinkedIn. We're all excited about the power of networking. We're all learning together. So we're all in it together, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So I have kind of written off a lot of networking events. I've found them over the years to not be as beneficial. And I feel like, especially when you have people who know what they're talking about, know how to network, know how to do all the find nearby things and stuff like that, I find that everywhere I go, I always meet really incredible new people. Mm-hmm. So I think that that's great, even on a small scale. All right. So I think that's the big difference between a LinkedIn local and just another networking event. As far as a LinkedIn Global, so I know a lot of people. I'm friends with a lot of the creator communities, which is why I wanted to get involved as a role for kind of programming and getting all of that. It's not a magic trick. A lot of people like to say yes to me. So a lot of these people are my friends, and they wanted to come and hang out with me. And I've built a lot of trust over the years on the internet. So if I tell somebody, hey, it's worth your while to come to this event that's going to have 1,000+ people, that's probably better than having 20 people. Now, it's not a numbers game, right? It's quality and quantity. But when you have a multiplier effect like that and multiple LinkedIn live streamers and all of these talented people, there's a lot of really big business people on there. It really fits the bill. So I think that I'm grateful for the opportunity to be in a place of service for an event such as great as LinkedIn Global. Joel, who's one of the main organizers, is saying that I have more friends than him. He has frenemies. So yeah, Joel, you're going to wear the Get Along shirt. Everybody know that meme where you get like a 5XL shirt and you have to put it on. So everybody's got to get along. So yeah, so a lot of people are just very, very excited about this event. Everybody's spreading the word. And let's see. So remind me of the last question that you said. Oh yeah. So if you don't have a big network like Brian Wallace, how do you get people to come together?
Exactly. Do you need to have a huge budget? Do you pay their airfare or hotel? So so again, I wouldn't tell anybody to start off by trying to do something like a LinkedIn Global. There's so much work that has to go into that. And it's only in its second year. So the first year, everybody kind of is just like winging it. And the second year is like really the make it or break it kind of a thing. That's funny, Joel. Goldie can't make it at this time, we already said. But the thing with this is, again, you can easily access people that are just in your neighborhood and in your backyard. You don't have to be a famous influencer to get the who's who of your local network. And you'd be surprised, even if somebody has 20 connections, one of their connections could be like their brother-in-law who's the CEO of a Fortune 500, who knows, right? So and the more the merrier. And what I find is when we have that level of diversity of the organizers and the speakers and the people that want to help, and try to get some volunteers to help people check in and if they have any questions or where's the bathroom or anything like that, I think that we all can bring different people to the table. So if a nice core representative of that event comes together and says, hey, we're planning this, we want people to speak, we want people to set up, we want people for drinks and food and snack, and some people do sponsors, some people do nonprofits that they can donate to. So everybody kind of has their role. So think about professionally doing it and really writing these things down ahead of time, maybe meeting before, having some of the questions ready ahead of time. The better you plan, sometimes the better that it looks. Because if nobody knows each other, you can tell when things are just kind of on the fly and disastrous. So I like to be a planner, I like to be a visionary, and I sure don't like to do all the pieces myself because that's just too much, and I have a business to run and a big family. So there's only so much of my time that can go around. You're amazing. I'm impressed by how much you can do. So here's a question from Marval, and joining us from LinkedIn. Thank you for joining us. Actually, this is one of my questions. So when you have a LinkedIn local events and when people are talking about things, do we have to stay with LinkedIn? Can we talk about something else? So how do you decide the topic?
So first off, thanks, Marav. Great to have you on. I know we've been chatting a little bit back and forth, and I was just, I'm the one who's dropping all those little light bulbs on there. As I'm saying, it's an insightful question. So if you're just going to have one panel, I think that it should be somewhat focused on how to use LinkedIn, how it's benefited your network, surprising things that have happened. Unless you're specifically tailoring it to a specific industry like software or tech or real estate or cybersecurity, I think you're going to lose a lot of people if you don't at least try to hit for the middle. So if we go back to a thing like LinkedIn Global for a second, and I'm not just going to talk about that, but as an example, you'll notice in the main event programming, we actually have 4 entire panels, one of which is about business. And the people who are on that panel are part of or started very established businesses. The other is about LinkedIn strategy. There's another one that's more about marketing, video, and personal branding, and another one about entrepreneurship. So we're able, and then we also have all the side networking stuff by industry. So since we have so many people and so much programming for such a large event, and it's an enormous venue hall, we're able to structure a night as opposed to just going like a good 2-3 hours like most events. We're going from 5 to 10. And if you count VIP, starting at 3. So it's almost the entire day, right? I mean, it's almost like a one-day workshop. So most people do not put together that level of complexity budget. And honestly, to do an event of that size, at best, you're doing like a yearly, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. And here's another simple question from my friend Vanessa. And she asked, can you walk us through the Find Nearby feature, please?
Yep. Hey, Vanessa. I'm glad you're actually going to be, I think you're joining the Westchester one. And thanks so much for signing up for VIP at LinkedIn Global. We're really excited to see you. And it's been a few months since we got to see each other in person in New York. So
you just know everyone. You just know everyone. This is
well, I shared it. So a bunch of people I know were doing it. What do you want? I mean,
this is amazing. I'm just impressed.
Right. So like, if LinkedIn went away tomorrow, like I'm kind of the human LinkedIn. I just have some superpowers that I'm good at triangulating information. Also, I was while we were talking, I noticed that I think Vicky actually answered your question, but just for everybody else. So if you click on, if you're on LinkedIn on your phone, and it has to be the app, not just the web browser. If you click on the 2 people on the bottom left of your screen, then either at the bottom right, there's like a little person with a +1 thing, or at the top middle of your screen, there's a little radar thing. You enable Find Nearby. Sorry?
I'm trying to share my phone. I don't know if people can see this.
Just in case you can't share your phone, I don't see it on the screen right now. So in one of those two ways, it depends on what phone, what version, it's complicated. You have to turn Find Nearby on. And you have to turn on Bluetooth because it uses a Bluetooth radius. It doesn't use the internet and it doesn't use Wi-Fi. Bluetooth is its own protocol. So then other people who are on Find Nearby, as far as Bluetooth can reach, you'll all be able to see each other in the room, and then you can connect with each other there. So whenever you do an event like this or any event of size, it's phenomenal. As opposed to, who was that person? I forgot. I forgot their name, business cards, whatever. You never have to worry about any of that again. And if you're all like part of the old school, it's almost like the old school like bump, like with, I think that was like Palm Pilot or something, if you remember from a million years ago. I'm a dinosaur, whatever. Never mind. Okay, you get it.
Oh, this is great. And we have so many people joining us on LinkedIn right now. Thank you so much, everyone. We are wrapping up. We'll be finishing in 5 or 10 minutes each. So here is another question. And from my friend. And here. From my friend Elia, who is actually joining us from Nigeria.
Oh, wow. Thanks for coming all the way out there.
Who has been staying with us. I believe right now it's either midnight or 1 a.m.
Yes, I was about to say, like, Nigeria is quite a few hours ahead.
I'm so honored he has been with us for quite a few shows.
Way to go for the dedication, Elijah. Thank you.
So he asked, I think this is a general question that many of us can kind of relate. LinkedIn has become more and more popular. And right now, when I was doing my interview with HubSpot, and they asked me which one is my favorite social media platform. Used to be Twitter, but now it's definitely LinkedIn. So for many of us who are kind of late to the LinkedIn content creation game, so share with us, how can we build our personal brand? How can we build our influence on LinkedIn? Brian, I think you are a perfect person to ask.
Oh, yeah. People ask me this question like every other day. And I start by telling people that they are asking the wrong question. And I don't mean that with disrespect. I just mean that they are focused on the wrong thing. Everybody wants to always skip to dessert. Sorry, kids, you can't have your pudding if you don't eat your meat. You can't eat your meat if you don't have, you've heard that song, right? Like The Wall. Yeah, okay. So the same's with the internet. No, you can't have your dessert. You can't put out content until you make a profile that's great. Hey, can we put Elijah's profile up on the screen?
Yes. Give me 1 second and let me
try. While you're doing that, I'm going to talk through it. There's a magical 3-step process that's not easy at all to be really good at LinkedIn. And you have not missed the train for the content creator community. We're still new. It's like 2-3 years old, whatever. You're not missing anything. You missed it if you're trying to do like YouTube. Right? That was like 10 years ago. It's
Or
very
Facebook.
hard to like start. Yeah, Facebook, they strangle your audience. LinkedIn, the floodgates are open. This is where you want to be, and it's a network of business, and it's like 655 million people, something like that, according to whatever estimates we're up to now. So that being said, and every industry all over the world, everybody that they think isn't on social media somehow is also on LinkedIn. So your target audience, no matter what you do, is most likely on there, unless you're doing something super weird. So before we get into content, number one, you have to make an amazing profile. I guarantee like 99.9% of you do not have an amazing profile. You're copying people who don't have great profiles. We're going to run out of time to elaborate on all of that. But number two, you have to be very clear about what you do for a living. Don't talk about 20 things that you like to do. What's the one thing that you're trying to portray to the world? And in that byline thing, those 2-3 lines after your name, everybody's familiar with the elevator speech, right? So this is the, imagine you are screaming down the hall as the elevator is closing. Hey, we have got Elijah's profile up. I am a creative virtual assistant, pipeline, social media strategist / digital skills trainer. Sorry, Elijah, tough love time, but like, that's not that good. A couple things just real quick, and then we'll get onto it. Your profile thing, like the top banner, it just has your name and it has a bunch of words which you repeat underneath. And then it has a picture of you that's the same picture as your profile. That doesn't make any sense. So you've doubled everything. I just want a table flip right now, dude. Don't do that. Take a better picture at the top of you like speaking or training people or something like that. Headshot's pretty good. And then like the byline's not that interesting. A creative virtual assistant, I don't know, like you're a virtual assistant of what? Social media strategist, tell me more. There's like 500,000 people that do that. Digital skills trainer of what? Be much more specific and it'll go a lot further. And you see that about section? That's got to be way better. It should be about the hero's journey. It should be personal. It should be professional. It should have links to your work. Take a look at what I've got in mind and you'll see what I'm talking about. So again, amazing profile, be super clear about what you do. And only after you do all that, do we get to have a whole conversation about making amazing content. Some people are better video people. Some people are better podcast people. Some people like the written word, short or long form. Some people, who knows, like to do lots of images. Whatever works for you, mix it up. Do a diversity of format and do a diversity of message, and it'll go a long way. If you look at my activity feed, you'll see that my stuff is very varied too. So if you go under my articles and activity and you click see all activity and then you click on posts, you can cyberstalk me all day and night, and I'll also cyberstalk you back, cyberstalking me, because I will look to see who's viewing my profile.
I swear, I hope that's helpful, Elijah. And I swear here, and I want to ask you actually one of my questions, what is something new about LinkedIn that you are super excited about? I remember you were talking about documents at the LinkedIn local. So talk a little bit more about this new feature with us.
Sure. So if you actually go, you can see some of the things that I've shared as documents. So that's an infographic about prison. Gosh, that's a cheerful topic. Scroll down. Let's pick something else more exciting. Why are we talking about prison? Okay, so those of you who enjoy alcohol, this is a piece we did for Maker's Mark a few years ago that talks all about the differences of bourbon and whiskey. People shared it, people enjoyed it. It's really awesome. And you can flip through it either on mobile or desktop and kind of go through all of it. It did really well. I'm sure it had tens of thousands of views. There's one about the future of work. And here's how to post these things, guys. So if you click back on home on your LinkedIn there.
Yes. So actually, before we go there, what is considered a document? Is it just like a picture, or has to be like a PDF?
We're going to ask LinkedIn directly. Click on home and we'll show everybody. So away from my profile. So here's your main screen, everybody, right? So as you know, when you log in, you can start a post and you can make the short form in the upper left of the main content area. You can write an article, or then you can take a photo or multiple photos. You can do a video or a live video if you have that. And then all the way over at the right is the documents. So click on that. Now,
Oh,
take a look. So you can choose a file or get it out of the cloud. And then on the bottom, you see that little thing where it says learn more?
yeah.
Click that.
They will be able to download. Okay.
Yep, click it. And this should bring us to a help article telling us what we can do. I usually use PDFs. I think PDFs are really great and accessible and all that. So if you want to see all the different things, we don't need to get into all the details. Here's your help document.
Wow, this is great. I never actually clicked on this.
I click on everything, and that's how I find a lot of stuff.
See, that's why it's so good. I don't ever click on anything. I'm now curious.
Well, it's there for a reason, man. What do you want?
So this is great. I'm definitely going to like click more on this. And this is great. I think you mentioned documents right now receive lots of organic reach. Is that true or?
Say it once more. Sorry, I missed what you said.
On LinkedIn and or documents. So if you are uploading a document and this document will actually receive lots of organic reach compared to maybe a text or post or image. Is that true or I misheard you?
Let's talk a little bit algorithmically. I love when everybody says, oh, there is no algorithm. The algorithm's my friend. I mean, I have like advanced computer science degrees. I know very well what an algorithm is. I always find it humorous when marketers start talking about algorithms and it sounds like they have no idea what they're talking about. So imagine, guys, that I actually had a career in technology before I started a marketing agency 13 years ago. So I am a creative technologist. So I very much variate and vacillate my remarks. Left brain, right brain, creative tech, algorithmic, heuristic, gut, feel, intuition. I have a lot of different things that are flying through my mind. So to elaborate on what I just said, I think that LinkedIn prioritizes document shares toward the top of their algorithm because LinkedIn likes to push new features. They want people to use them. That's common sense. Yet at the same time, I've seen people that write like 3 sentences of text that go over the rainbow. I'll tell you that my best post of all time was just short of 1 million views. It was a short form text post. My next best post, which probably has 500,000-600,000 views. By the way, keep in mind, probably 1,000 people shared it. So when I say views, I have no idea how many people saw it off of the several hundred to 1,000 shares. So I'm sure it's been seen millions of times and counting. And that was a document share. And regularly, I would say I score a little bit better on my document shares. But remember, I have an unfair advantage. I have cool looking infographics that tell a big story. So don't just think that like, just because it's a PDF, it's a magic golden goose. It still needs to look good and feel good. So I think that you need to show LinkedIn that you are diverse in your thought. So you're not just pumping out, here's work that I did, here's work that I did. Go talk about the future of work. Go talk about current events. Go talk about LinkedIn Local. Go talk about events behind the scenes. Interview people. I don't know. There's a million things you can talk about. And then variate it. So I think that you'll find there's a lot of people who are belly aching that the algorithm is punishing us. Oh, boo-hoo, they don't like us anymore. Well, it's partially true and partially not.
No,
2 things I'm going to say here. One, if all you do is just a video every day and you never mix it up, LinkedIn's probably going to put a thumb on you. The other thing I'm going to say, and there was a story in, if you guys ever read Axios, and I'll give you a link to this for everybody to see. So this is not private information, but Axios, really cool data news site, was talking about how algorithm-wise, LinkedIn reprioritized the algorithm several months ago to basically rob from the top 1%. There we go. Top 1% of the LinkedIn creator community to redistribute it to the top 8 to 10%. So everybody who used to be awesome isn't as awesome because they were trying to make a way to bring other people in. I think this was the article. Pretty sure this is it.
Wow, I'm going to share pretty much everyone.
What's that?
No FOMO right now, everyone. And every single article that Brian mentioned, I posted on the comment section, so you guys can refer back to the article. So I'm going to share this one as well. So sorry to interrupt you.
Yep, you're good. Oh, and by the way, I just want to address a comment that Vanessa Saunders just said. She's saying that it's quiet around here. I think you're talking about the the find nearby. Yeah, I mean, unless you're actually at an event with everybody that has it on, it's always going to say that it's quiet around here. So anyways, so back to what we're saying. So algorithmically, they rob from the rich to give to the poor, to take the top 1% of the old school original creator community, to redistribute it, to get some new voices heard and reprioritized.
This is great. And I know we're running over time a little bit. Brian, do you have another like 3 minutes? I want to share another, because people always love kind of this live coaching session. So here's my friend Peter, and I want you to kind of do a
bring
quick,
it. What you got?
Yeah, do a quick critique, because I remember, hey guys, listen. When Brian and I met in person, I think at Social Media Week in Lima, and you did a critique of my own LinkedIn profile. I was like, oh my God, you gave me so much homework. So let's do a quick critique of my dear friend Peter. What do you think about this?
Okay. What are we looking at? Oh, there we go. Okay, so Peter, who is actually moderating comments for us, right?
He is amazing, yes.
Well, thank you, Peter. You are awesome. So, okay, so Peter's from England. So I'm a New York Yankee. So, ex-New Yorker, but you can't take the New York out of the boy. So I'm going to give you some tough love. Can he handle it? He's a grown up,
oh my God,
right?
Trust me, he can handle this.
Okay. So Peter, let me brutally destroy you on the internet in front of a whole bunch of people. Here we go. So your profile thing on the top kind of sucks. I mean, I know that like you want people to know that you work for, and I don't know if this is your company, at Marketing Study Lab, and then you've got the little tagline and you've got, you know, a bunch of little check marks, and that's cute. But that's like a one sheet or content on your website or a business card. That sucks, buddy. And here's why. Try to look at that header. It's not unfair on Peter. Peter asked for it, Ella, whatever, dude. Or whatever. Okay, listen. If you look at that on mobile, it's going to be so small, you're not even going to be reading the text. And in your subconscious mind, if Peter goes to connect with me and I look at his profile, I'm going to be like, yeah, this kind of seems salesy. I don't really know what he does. What I want to see there is some sort of power position showing you, helping people with marketing strategy, speaking from the stage, speaking from a crowd of people, doing it. Show the physical action, and it goes so much better than this salesy crap banner stuff. I want that destroyed. No good. Sorry. Try again. Next, we're going to critique your profile picture. I want everybody to take note. There's a website called photofeeler.com.
I remember that. Yes.
I want you to take this picture and put it into the beast of the wisdom of crowds until you get about 50 votes, and people will tell you how likable and influential and cool you are. The only score that I care about the most, not because I don't have feelings, but because it's LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is business meets influence. You want to pay special attention to your influence score. My picture had a 95% influence score. I think you just holding a Post-it note makes you a little weak. And I know it's like kitschy and cute, but I think that it'd probably be better than this. I know everybody's got their shtick. You know that good old Yiddish word? Everybody's got like their cute little like tagline or whatever. I don't think it's impactful enough. You aced Photo Feeler. Show us the scores, buddy. Maybe people like it. I don't know. Again, this is just an intuition. And I'm also looking at it on iScreen, and it's really small, so I can't actually see it that well. But let's go back to Peter's. This is the site, everybody. Let's go back to Peter's thing. If it's great, great. I'm just, shouting out some different things. So let's go back to his profile.
I'm back on his profile. Can you see it?
There we go. Yep. All right. So Peter Sumpton, marketing tutor and mentor. LinkedIn has a habit of assassinating you in the background. I'm pretty sure that your birth certificate doesn't have that as your name. I used to be Brian Wallace, infographic expert, until one day I logged in and they're like, hi, that's not your real name. If you ever want to access again, you better change it. So I'm just letting you know, Peter, just letting you know that they don't like that stuff and they do crack down. I'm not saying you got to change it today, but just know that that's not forever. Okay, moving on.
That's a quick question. So I have my name and the future of education. So I should just remove the future of education. Just have my name there, right?
Well, two things, honestly. One, they're going to crack down on you eventually. And two, I found it that it's a little harder to tag when people add all that extra stuff or when they add emojis. I used to have the crystal ball emoji because people think I'm an analyst and a futurist. I'm not I can't see the future. I can just predict the future based on what I know what people like today and I extrapolate. It's not that hard for my brain. That's just how I think. So, all right. So next, we've got that byline, and I already destroyed Elijah's already on that. So let's destroy Peter's. Helping remove the frustration and difficulty from your marketing strategy and studies. Dude, that is such a long sentence. Reduce that by 75%. Checkbox. Instead of doing that, use the pipeline, which is shift and the backslash. That's a physical separator. I'm looking for brevity. Brevity is the spice of life. Get it? I cut out the E. So take every single character out of this as you can, make different points, and also put in different accolades and credits. If you look at my byline, you'll see what I'm talking about. Also, your profile says United Kingdom. Aren't you close to a city? I would make sure that your whatever postal code or something makes it that you're big into a thing. Okay, so let's keep going. Let's look at his about section for a quick second. Scroll down a little bit.
I know it's very small for you to see.
Yeah, it's hanging. Come on. I have a feeling, because I see it says something like, are you looking to study for blah, blah, blah? It just sounds like something I would hear on a commercial on the radio. So if you look at mine's like, hi, I'm Brian, and I'm from Brooklyn. And I go into this whole comedy routine or something. So it sounds like you're having an hour-long conversation with me. But when I look at him, he's yeah, Phil, it's spoken like a tech guy. I told you I was a tech guy. That's called a pipeline, and it's syntactically correct for the tech community. Thank you. I'm so glad somebody finally knew what a pipeline was. Dude, you just made my night. So this is it's way too formulaic of just it's very pushy. It's very salesy. It isn't bad, but it's not so personable. You could do better, man. Everybody can do better. Listen, I mean, I myself can do better. Do you know, I would say once a month, I change a bunch of stuff here and there. Nothing that I do is written in stone. I'm constantly variating. So I practice what I preach. Anyways, so what else we got?
That's great. Thank you so much. That's really amazing. And I love listening to you critiquing others because it always helps me understand my own profile better and how I can improve because I made the same mistake. I was like, are you struggling with this? So I'm going to change that.
Are you tired of not sleeping at night? Yeah, this summer, right? We could get into all the booming voice.
Yeah.
We're not gonna do that.
Yeah. Anyway, this has been amazing. I'm so sorry. I'm taking so much of your time. Dinner time, I know. So share with us where can people learn more about you.
So obviously, get into my world, get into the cult of Brian, and either follow me or connect with me on LinkedIn. If you go to linkedin.com/in/nowsourcing, because there are hundreds of thousands of people named Brian Wallace in the world. Somehow I still show up in Google for stuff like that. And I am very closely tied with my name, Brian Wallace, to the name of my company, Now Sourcing. If you want to see what we do with all sorts of cool infographic campaigns that get press, you can always go to nowsourcing.com. And I'm probably not as active on LinkedIn as other social channels, but you'll find me everywhere at Now Sourcing.
Yeah, on Twitter, every single place, Instagram. So this has been an amazing conversation, Brian. Thank you so much for staying longer and doing critiques for people in my community. It means so much to me. I really appreciate you. And next Wednesday, guys, don't miss me too much because I will be away for a meditation retreat. So I will not be hosting my show next Wednesday. So I will be seeing you guys in 2 weeks. And I have my dear friend, Brendan, and to come here to talk about LinkedIn. And so definitely mark your calendar. And I hope to see you in 2 weeks. And thank you so much again, Brian. You are amazing, my friend.
It was such a treat. I've been looking forward to this all week.
And thank you so much for joining us live, everyone. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And enjoy the rest of your day or evening. Bye. See you in 2 weeks.
Bye, guys.
Bye.